Keep things moving along. This should be a short meeting today. So I'm going to call the Legislative and Rules Committee meeting to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of our prior meeting, January 24th, 2017, put forward by Supervisor Sokol, seconded by Supervisor Bramer? All those in favor?
Aye.
Or any changes or amendments? I'm sorry. None? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes unanimously. The item on that we have before us tonight is to review the Warren County travel policy addressing changes in the approval process for in-state travel as prepared by the county attorney pursuant to the direction provided at the January 24th committee meeting. And the other item on the agenda to have Mr. Schultz explain to us what he would like us to understand. He was unable to make the meeting or did not wish to make this meeting. He wanted to know how much time he could have to present, and I said I could give him 20 minutes. And he said, that's not nearly enough, I won't be there. I don't know what that means. I mean, if we gave him more time, would he be at a meeting, in a future meeting? I'm not quite sure, but he's not going to be here today, so I suggest that we don't deal with that topic. Let's go along with the topic before us, though. And is there anybody that wishes to elaborate? If you see the attachment number 1, it offers a new section 3, 155B2D, to read as follows: in-state travel for attendance at conferences, seminars, or training, the cost of which is included in the current county budget, requires only approval of the applicable department head, the county administrator, and the chair of the appropriate oversight committee. After such approvals are obtained, notification of the event, the attending employees, and the fact that approvals were granted shall be noted on the next oversight committee agenda. That's what's being proposed. Discussion? County council? County administrator?
Bramer has a question, I think, or a comment.
Supervisor Bramer?
Thank you. Is this form new, the attachment number 1?
I understand there is a change, Amanda drafted a change on that to include the signature for the department head, is that accurate?
Yeah, well, the department, before it had department head and it had committee chairman, we added a line to have county administrator signature so it would be in line with the revised policy. Other than that, that's the only change.
I guess the other thing I would like to see on the form is somewhere where it says it's in the budget.
I think we could add that right next to the overnight travel. We could put a box there. That's,
Is that really needed? I mean, you could put it there, but is it really needed? I mean, they're not supposed to. You're not supposed to spend money unless it's in your budget code, anyways. I mean, that's common knowledge. But do what you want.
Supervisor Brock?
Isn't there something where we're going to review the travel applications all at once or something? 'Cause I remember discussing that recently. I can't remember the exact idea behind what we're...
I can
I
speak.
thought you brought it up.
Speak to
Something
that.
might
about,
have been
because we were
tourism.
going through a series of...
I did not want to approve all the tourism travel at once, but we did.
Right, maybe that was it. Well, if we did it that way, then we would know whether it was approved or not, you know, prior to the...
It was in their budget, and they wanted to go and have approval at the beginning of the year to spend it for the rest of the year.
Well, it doesn't make any difference to me.
That's
I mean,
fine.
you just can't. I hope everybody understands. You can't spend money unless you have it in your budget. I mean that.
But they have come to us before with that, oh, this is a brand new conference and can we go? It's not in our budget.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that by state law. You can't make an expenditure unless the money is already in your budget. And you can't make it. You're not supposed to transfer money into your budget after you request travel. It's the way the law is. So, I mean, if it's a concern, then plunk it in there, but it's the law.
Well, it says here in the new section 155B2D that it has to be something that's already been approved in the budget.
Right, I
If
understand
it's
that,
not,
but the
then it's gotta
employees
be-
don't look at this, they're gonna look at this thing.
Well, this is what guides it, I believe.
What happened was there were about 13 to 15 separate travel requests on one agenda, and I think by acclamation, the members of the committee said, we want to exempt this from being approved at every committee meeting,
Right.
clogging up the agenda with these if they meet these particular requirements. That's what my notes reflected. If I missed
Yeah.
one.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think it's helpful, that, that you could put a check mark on there, but I mean, hopefully they understand the rules. You're not supposed to spend money unless it's in your budget.
I'm relying on you. If you think it's not necessary, it's fine. Or if it adds confusion,
We
because
can
it should be already...
certainly, I'll schedule a department head meeting and we'll lay out the information to our department heads in the very near future with this change, saying, just understand, because, I went to class last week and,
Yeah,
on audits and claims. But, and I'll bring up our concerns, we really want to hold tight to the budget.
yeah.
Supervisor Leggett.
So where does this application then go? It doesn't need to come in front of the committee?
No, it comes back to the committee after they're allowed to travel, I think, right? Or before they're allowed to travel.
My recollection of the direction I got was that once those approvals are obtained, the chairman of the oversight committee, the county administrator, and the department head those are noted on the agenda, whether the travel has happened or not, as soon as those approvals will be on the next agenda. Right, the next committee agenda.
Right.
So whether it be sheriff, tourism, county clerk, I think that they would be included in their agendas.
Any other committee members have thoughts on this? All right. Seeing no further discussion needed, anybody would like to make a motion of support? Moved by Supervisor Brock, seconded by Supervisor Bramer. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Appears to be unanimous.
That was contentious.
That was
Since Bob Schultz isn't here, we'll deal with his issues when he is here, when he can make it here. We also have a referral from Health Human Services Committee requesting a resolution be drafted urging the state to provide financial assistance to the county for the cost of rabies treatment. And that, we're just waiting for Patricia Auer to come in to us with additional information. And I see also an attachment of a potential resolution to dear Senator, dear Assembly Member, of some things we would like them to support. I didn't see it on the agenda, or maybe it is, but I see it as a possible discussion item, I guess. You see where I'm clicking? Oh, okay. All right, I've got my packet somehow. Any other items for good of the order? Yes.
Yeah, just in reference to Mr. Schultz, we're certainly interested in enlightened, positive dialogue, but, and I think if Mr. Schultz can't say it in 20 minutes, then maybe it's time for him to shorten his presentation, because we live in a world where people are busy and we all have responsibilities, so we welcome him, but
All right,
20
so
minutes is...
if he contacts us, either your office or my office again, we'll suggest that 20 minutes is a limit. Does he wish to make a presentation? And if so, we'll accommodate him. Supervisor Brock?
Isn't his basic point, or what he wants to have is no politicians can go to the Constitutional Convention?
Yes.
That's the way I understand it.
Is that even constitutional? I mean, you can't, it's almost like saying this class of people are exempt, which is not constitutional. I wouldn't think.
Not very democratic.
Well, I mean, is it?
I don't think politicians is a protected class.
No, no, I'm saying you can't just say you can't go because you're a politician.
Act as a delegate, I think you could put a restriction on who could be a delegate. Subject to any research, that's my inclination as I sit here.
Bad Boy's been on the agenda since May last year.
Well, and I'm not so sure they can make that change at this time. They could, if the Constitutional Convention gets voted for,
Yeah.
then they'll go through the rounds of choosing the delegates, which then will go towards making amendments to the, or proposing amendments to the Constitution, which comes back to the people for the vote. And the whole process, if they want to amend the Constitution and eliminate potential delegates to the Constitutional Convention being those who hold elected office, then they can make that amendment then. I do not believe that they can make the amendment changing the Constitution until you have the Constitutional Convention. I mean, you could propose the amendment in our legislative body, and that has to occur twice before it comes to the public for a vote. You can change the Constitution in that manner, but you're still looking at a several-year process that would extend it beyond, I think, the Constitutional Convention chronology. Supervisor Bramer?
I know we don't want to get into the weeds too much, but his resolution calls for more than just dealing with politicians. He's also asking for lobbying organizations to be exempt, and that is something that I do agree with that concept, that you wouldn't want to have lobbyists making our constitutional amendments by sitting as delegates to the Constitution, because then you only have those lobbying interests represented rather than normal people. Like, we're normal people. I do not agree with trying to prohibit politicians from being a delegate. But the other idea that he included, lobbying people, I think you have to register as a lobbyist, so those people should be excluded in my mind. But I think perhaps it's too late to
Well, wonder if
anything
I
about
like
that.
a certain lobbyist and I want to vote for them and they get the votes to be a delegate. I mean, you're taking away my...
Yeah, there's like lobbyists for after-school programs. Like, you know.
I don't know if they're like specific lobbyists though who have to register and file all this paperwork and stuff. Those
So
people
you're
should
thinking
not
of
be
those bad lobbyists.
bad lobbyists.
Oh, so the bad lobbyists shouldn't be included, but the good lobbyists.
Who falls into the bad lobby?
I'm for that.
We could support a resolution that only good delegates go.
Okay.
The
Well, we should,
bad guys
you know,
need
we
not
should
apply.
be paying attention then,
Only-
and be
only
really
delegates.
careful about who we support and try to
That's
get elected.
Only delegates that
Whenever
think
that
my
is
way.
happening.
I think we just came full circle in this conversation.
Yeah, boom,
I'm
done.
sorry, I brought it up, John.
All right,
Well,
yeah.
for the record,
Okay.
Mr. Schultz did
For
send out, back in the summertime, that he was giving a presentation.
May.
Was it the presentation in May?
Well, that's what
Or
this
in
is
June,
dated.
August?
He did.
Dated
That's
for
right,
May.
over at SUNY Adirondack. I did show up on a rainy night, and I was not able to find it. Couldn't find my way around
Oh,
ACC.
no.
That's pretty bad.
He
but-
has come
so
here to
I
talk.
tried to catch what he was going to say.
He talked to us quite a while about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I went to a Constitutional Convention class at the recent Warren County Association of Counties. And the guy that was presenting, and you were there, Supervisor Bramer, as well, the guy that was presenting, you know, was quite an authority on the topic, and he personally didn't think it was a great idea that at this time you start choosing who could not be delegates. That should be up to the people. In any event, any other discussion on this before I go to privilege of the floor, see if there's any privilege of the floor items? Nothing from the committee? Okay, anything privilege of the floor? Yes, sir?
Travis Whitehead, Queensbury. I I'd like to address the Legislative and Rules Committee just to ask the question, do rules matter? I think rules do matter. You're going to bring a resolution to the floor in front of the supervisors on travel policy. You have brought, you do this all the time. I would like to discuss one rule in particular that was passed unanimously by the Board of Supervisors in the summer of 2014. It's Resolution 341 of 2014. And I'll read just the one line here. There's only 2 lines in here. I'll read the one line that matters. Resolved that the towns, Village of Lake George, and City of Glens Falls in Warren County will commence using this form immediately when reporting receipts and expenditures of occupancy tax funding. And there's an attachment of a form. And what this did in 2014 was to clarify that certain information needs to be brought forward before you get reimbursed for your efforts in the towns. And it's always been established what's needed there, but everybody was evidently putting in their own little versions of what they thought was needed. So I'm assuming that this was put together for good reason, so that it would be easy to see that this is what you need to do. So there's columns for all these different things, including, important to me and other people, estimated number of persons served at each event. And the reason this is important to me is I brought this up at our town meeting about a month ago, and I was told that, oh no, every town makes their own rules on this. And I've further researched that, and you can make a rule as long as it's more restrictive than the underlying rule. But if it says you need to have, this certain data here, you need the certain data. And that was that way since 2003. And since 2014, you specifically need this particular form. And I can tell you that in March of 2015, and again in March of 2016, the town of Queensbury did not use this form, nor did they include this information. And this has been a bone of contention between myself and the supervisor of that town, and I intend to take it up tonight. And I would like to know whether or not rules matter. And I would like to know whether or not each town, that one sentence, who would enforce that? Who would pay any attention? Who's going to pay attention to the travel policy you just talked about? There's got to be some sort of oversight here, and I'd like to know who. Or are we just free to go ahead and choose to submit any forms or do anything we want? That's my question.
Can I respond to him?
Yes.
I think the problem with OxyTax, Travis, and I agree, we developed this for a reason, so everybody would report the same numbers on the same form, a fillable form. And our forms were sent to the attorney's office, and it may have gone in a black hole before, but I think, I've spoken to Brian, but I think we have a person in the tourism office who audits the claims for normal OxyTax requests. So I think we need to work on that, but I think we need to take the forms that come to the attorney's office, make sure they're in a proper format, and then they go to our accounting person in tourism to make sure that they comply with the legislative authority that we gave. I think they went into a black hole. I think you're right. I've looked at some of them, and they were a hodgepodge of the way they were supposed to be. And I think this form, although it's still not perfect, I don't feel, because there's really not enough room to list. And you saw what I do. I usually attach all my events or anything I spend money from. I usually take it in an Excel spreadsheet and attach it to the form, but the form has all the pertinent information. I think we just need to get there. I'll work with Brian to find out which towns aren't doing it, and we'll send them a memo. And it should happen this year. The ones that turned in March of 2017 all need to be the same. And because it's hard following the balances that some of these communities have. And no, I agree with you. You're 100% correct. We can work on that.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need to work on that.
Yes, Supervisor Sieber?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also just wanted to echo what Travis highlighted our county attorney, Rickenbach, has been wonderful in providing me with a lot of information over the last few weeks. I've spoken with our county chairman as well. And what did come up is, if it's not being followed, how does it get enforced, and where is the chief? And I would go so far as to say, if you've been asked to submit the correct form and you haven't, or you haven't submitted your form at all, why do you keep getting oxy-tax? If you can't follow rules, submit it on the right form or submit it at all, but yet we keep giving more money in oxtax, we don't know how the money's being spent, you don't know if it's spent correctly. And I recall being on a committee where we spent hours talking about this form. I don't know about you, but I think we all get a little sick of developing forms and policies if we aren't going to follow them. So I appreciate the feedback I've gotten from the county attorney. I know you were also going to speak with Dennis Dickinson as well, as was the chairman, and coming up with a way to, you know, really look at these forms. I had a town board member from Kingsbury say, you know, are we spending it correctly? How do we know? But yet didn't have anywhere to send them to find out who's doing the audit. So if our tourism department isn't going to audit, and I would say that's almost like the fox watching the hen house, right? Maybe we should use money from off-tax collection and go out with a third party that will audit whether or not we're adhering as a municipality or a town to the Schedule A guidelines.
Thank you for your input. Anybody else?
Well, I think the only reason why I mentioned the tourism department, Lisa audits all the oxy-tax requests, and she makes sure they follow it. That's why internally, she doesn't even look at these reports. She's never seen them before, so we've got to get her these reports from the towns too. She can work. I think we can take care of it internally, in all honesty, and I think anybody who didn't do it in 2015, we got to send them a note and tell them to transfer their numbers onto the 2015 and 2016, get everybody up to spot. They got the numbers, they just need to transfer them over.
I think you'll find the town of Queensbury's application form to be congruent with the counties and actually more expansive than the county.
Yeah, but I think in all honesty, though, if everybody has the same form and you can spot your monies where they belong on those, they're fillable forms, they're easy to do.
Yeah, I don't have a problem
And
with
then
that.
attach whatever you want to attach
I'm just
to
saying,
it.
in our form, I think we have most of the contents that you asked for, if not all.
Yeah, probably, we can take care of it.
Okay, we can do that.
If I may
Supervisor-
approach,
Supervisor
this
Bro-
is the
excuse
actual
me?
form that they did, and there's no numbers of people on there anywhere.
We'll take care of it.
Supervisor Brock?
Isn't every municipality in the county also audited by an accounting firm at some point? So it's not like things are just going willy-nilly.
I'm not sure if OCTAX is.
Not really, Jim, it's really up to every municipality whether they have an outside audit. The state comes
Does
in.
the county have an audit?
County gets an audit every year, yes.
So then, so
But
it's
I'm not sure, because this resides in the attorney's office, that this is part of the, we just were audited by the state on oxy-tax collection, but not on expenditures.
Right, but I just don't want the impression made that things are just being done without any super oversight at all, or, you know, I mean, there's an audit at some point, and if an exception's found, then the state...
Yeah.
All right, from what I understand is
We'll take care
that Administrator Garrity will look into the matter.
We definitely will, I'll work with Brian, we'll get this straightened out within, hopefully before next time you meet, that the forms are being done. We'll go to the towns that didn't meet the criteria. If they need help, we'll help them.
Okay, thank you. Anything else for go to the order? Motion to adjourn? Moved by Councilman McDevitt, seconded by Councilman Leggett. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Appears to be unanimous. Thank you.
I do think we need to make a